Music can bring life to our momentary status and change how we feel about anything, even if we don't know it. We see this power in movies and eventually in video games, starting with primitive sounds to full orchestral scores. We started to see this more when the Nintendo Entertainment System hit the market. Some of the most well-remembered video game themes came from that console, and then in the next generation a new trilogy started that would define video game music forever. You know what it is, and if you don't, let me school you in when video games finally became art. Donkey Kong Country. Starring the Big Ape himself in an adventure that used pre-rendered CGI that no other game could compete with visually, and with a soundtrack on par quality-wise. In fact, it was the first time where the visuals matched the sound. Like I said, it was kind of artistic, and no other game had been anywhere as close to doing that. Well, maybe Sonic. These melodies came from the minds of composer David Wise, Robert Beeland, and Evelyn Fisher. It even went to CD at a time when this was not common practice. 1 year later, this task would be topped with what I consider, and what the title of this video is about, the greatest video game soundtrack ever created. Again with David Wise with remixing from Grant Kirkhope, Rareware's Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. Differing from its predecessor with more of a pirate theme with a darker setting, and more vibes of adventure. Set on Crocodile Isles, the land of the bad guys, that contain unique wonders from the facade of evildoers with peg legs and guns. Here are the highlights. Lockjaw Saga. A tense tune of dynamic urgency. Time is against you and you've only got your girlfriend and your monkey balls to get through this. Hothead Hop. It's all about the deadly heat. The sound of lava bubbles reminds you to keep on the high ground. But as it goes on, it starts to get more optimistic and uplifting, until it repeats itself, reminding you of the heat. Miming melody, sounds of a hard-working mind, with visuals that make you feel the scale of the entire place. Out of nowhere, monk-like chanting amplifies your descent upwards to the finish. Bay Boogie. Like miming melody, common swamp sounds create the atmosphere, but with the wisdom of Wise brings a chill-out beat, showing the beauty in the most unpleasant places. This is where you really start hearing the difference between Country 1 and Country 2. Stickerbrush Symphony. This is the track everybody knows about. I don't have to tell you why, it speaks for itself. Apparently this was made for the obligatory water level, but instead they put it to a maze of giant brambles. Even though out of place, it still helped, it still works, and it makes the player relax in such a challenging environment. Disco Train. What fits better with a carnival created by Kremlins? With its funky house beats, the speed of the jam matching the speed of the cart, plus the screams in the background, very similar to Ohio Players' Love Roller Coaster. Forest Interlude. About the time you get to this level with this track, you've been through so much that a haunted forest really doesn't affect you anymore. And the developers know that, so you basically get a hypnotic, spooky trance. It sounds nice and friendly, but at the same time kind of being a little bit cosmic. These are some of the great tracks to this unforgettable chapter in gaming history, a landmark that will never be topped. From a once great game company, this is the reason God gave us ears.